Hey, welcome in, fans, to another episode of the Two Line Pass podcast. I'm Brandon. Here with me is Dustin. Ryan, day to day with a lower body injury. He is out, but Dustin, you and I are in. And I think we are both in a very good Utah Mammoth mood. But how are you doing tonight?
There's no reason to not be in a great mood. Things are awesome right now. Just winning upon more winning. Things are great. I do want to take a quick second before we get into the hockey talk. I want to introduce a new segment that I want to bring to the show, and that is called Dustin's Shirt of the Week, where I'm going to show off the shirt that I'm wearing because, last week I just stood up and I showed off sometimes I'd be farting shirt, and it was just at the end of the episode, everybody had already checked out. So just right up front, just show off a cool shirt that I'm wearing. This week is an 80s, 90s style Arthur versus the Black Knight. You got the health bars up here. You've got a swallow carrying a coconut, gripping it by the husk. I also want to add, this is the last cool t-shirt that I have to show. So this is going to be the last edition of Dustin's t-shirt of the week. But it's been a long, fun journey. And thank you for all the memories, everybody. I thoroughly enjoyed that segment.
You know what, too, just to throw this out there, if you're only listening to the audio version, this is why you got to get on over to the YouTube channel so you can see this flesh wound of a t-shirt. And so you too can feel a part. Like that is a top tier t-shirt.
Yeah.
And it's just a flesh wound, guys. Just like the Mammoth history sometimes can feel like just a flesh wound, and we are like Arthur. We have destroyed the Black Knight, just like we are destroying the rest of the league, specifically in January. Dustin, I mean, we left our listeners off with me lamenting about this stretch of games, Toronto, Dallas, and Seattle, saying, oh my God, 1-2, could that be the best we hope for? And here we are, 3-0 in that stretch, and possibly the three best games we've seen the Mammoth play back to back to back against two extremely good teams and one very good team. Man, it was great. You were there to see the win against Seattle, but what are your thoughts on this 3-game streak to almost close out the homestand?
It's crazy because, everything just seems to be working. Everything just seems to be clicking. Like, all the moves that Turney has made that we kind of, side-eyed a little bit. Like, I don't know about that. Like, moving Lawson up and moving Gunther down to line 3. Like, you're looking at it why? Like, it's just... Is this just more of we'll try this and see if this works? But it seems to be working just fine. Everybody is responding. I love that the Seattle game was you got off to a bad start, just giving up a really, really quick goal. Then you respond and you take that 3-1 lead. And then it kind of falls apart. It wasn't that you were playing badly. It wasn't that Seattle was just controlling the puck in their offensive zone and you couldn't get it out and you just got overpowered. There were just a couple of giveaways and they scored quickly, but they respond and you go into that break 3-3. And I don't know if I would assume they showed it on TV, but they talked to Nate Schmidt in the break between the second and third period. And he's one of the few players that gives you a legitimate interview, legitimate answers, talks about we need to do this. We're playing like this. We're skating like this. We need to be better here. We need to be better there. He gives you actual legitimate responses. And I sent a tweet during the game saying he's got a bright future as a coach because he's well spoken. He knows what the team needs. And that's quite frankly why GM brings him in, because he is he's a proven winner. He knows what it takes. And then he's the guy that goes out there and kind of takes it back, right? He scores a game winning goal. He's just all over the place, 4 points. I think it was something his first 3-point game in 5 seasons. And then he goes and adds one more. And just, I love that guy is the one who played the role in okay, we're not letting this get away. We let you get back. You're not winning this game. And Nate Schmidt, that's the role that he plays. And he's the guy that made it happen. I love that.
No, he's been so incredible. And really the defensive core between him and John Marino have just been absolutely incredible in the month of January. Actually, they're tied with Mikhail Sergachev, which is one of those things where you don't expect that, right? You see Sergachev and you're like, if there's going to be offense from the defenseman, it's going to be Sergachev or Durzi. They're going to provide it. They play on the power play, right? They're going to get it. But Nate Schmidt and John Marino are playing not only lights out defensively. In terms of defensive pairing, they lead the league in plus minus, and they are also contributing offensively and goal scoring too, not just assists. Like, it is incredible to see them. And that's kind of the turnaround of this team, is just those guys that they haven't really underperformed all season. Like, Nate Schmidt's a guy we've been talking about all year. John Marino's been a extremely consistent defender all year, but it's just like that brings this team mentality where they're closing out games with a absolute lethal efficiency, which we have seen this team struggle to do. Last year especially, what was the narrative we heard a lot of? They cannot close out games, right? Instead of putting their foot to the throat of their opponent, they let their opponent claw the way back in, and we let the game slip away. We saw a little bit of that early in this season, but now in the month of January specifically, like, man, we are just running away from teams, good teams too. We just crushed Toronto, and I understand they were on a back-to-back, but still absolutely crushed them in a game you need to crush them, and then play lights out against Dallas and do the same thing we did to Toronto to Seattle. It's just been so great. And was it maybe that they just needed to come back home? Maybe I've been underestimating how difficult the first half of the season schedule was. I didn't believe that it would affect them, but maybe it has, and maybe this homestand just is exactly what the doctor ordered to get the whole team clicking on all cylinders.
Yeah, we've seen them talk about that on the broadcast all the time, about like how Utah had one of, like, it was top 3 most difficult schedules in the first half, and then in the back half it's one of the easiest. I mean, obviously, like, if it's going to be super front loaded, then it's going to be lighter. Like, I think they played more away games than any other team in the league, and just it seemed like my father actually is renting out my basement right now. And so he'll wander upstairs, he'll see me watching the game on TV. He's like, they're on the road again? And like, that's how it's been all year long. Like, he just kind of like passively pays attention when he sees the game is on and watch it with me, but he doesn't like follow it too closely. He's kind of like the type of hockey fan that I was before the Arizona Coyotes moved here. Just kind of like, yeah, I have a favorite team and I kind of pay attention, whatever. And that's kind of how he is. But like, every time he'd walk upstairs, he'd look at the TV. They're on the road again? Do they ever play at home? Like, now they play at home a lot, and it's clicking. But we were actually looking before the episode, before we hit record, and you speaking about like them not being able to close out games. Like, we lost 11 games in the month of November. 6 of those 11 losses were 1-goal games, and 3 of them went to overtime. So like, you've got over half of your losses by 1 goal, where it's just like 1 extra play, 1 extra goal, but like, it's going to make all the difference. And they just weren't doing it back then. Now they're doing it, and they're pouring it on. They're getting goals from everywhere. Like, you brought up, I talked about Nate Schmidt being the one to win it against Seattle. The game winner the week before, or the game before against Dallas, came from Marino. Like, that's obviously, I mean, I'm just going to say that's our best defensive pairing right now. Like, those are our 2 best defensive players. Like, I would have told you before the season, it's going to be Mikhail Sergachev. It's Schmidt, Marino, and it has been for a while. Like, I think people are just kind of like, it's easy to ignore like the defensive players because they're not putting up stats. Like, they're just playing solid defensively. Now they're actually contributing on the offensive side too. It's like, okay, they are actually playing really, really good hockey right now, and I love to see it from those guys. That's why they're here, and it's awesome. I love it.
Absolutely. Not to be just, talking about the defensemen only. Like, we're getting production from all of the forwards too. We talked about Clayton Keller and kind of wanting him to elevate his game. And since being named to that USA roster, like, he has fought and showed them why. We challenged him to show us why they named him. And he's currently, through the month of January, leading the team in points with 13. Now, he only has 1 goal, but he is spreading the love with the assists, right? 12 assists. Nick Schmaltz is continuing to have his magical season. He's got 11 points. Dylan Gunther's got 9. Lawson Krause, you mentioned this. Like, I was not a believer at all about Lawson Krause on line 1. Not even a little bit. I thought this is going to end up just like when Kerfoot was on line 1 as a center. Like, yeah, he can do it, but this is a Band-Aid fix. It's not going to work. Don't do it long term. But I kind of want it long term. I kind of want, even when Logan Cooley comes back, I kind of want Nick Schmaltz to stay at center. And hell, if Lawson keeps playing like this, keep him there. I will. I love Crow. It's so good. It tastes so good in my mouth. It's just one of those things where everybody's clicking. Barrett Hayton's getting on the score sheet. He has 5 points. Jack McBain finally getting now that he's playing with Gunther, he's got 6 points. I mean, everybody is playing well, top to bottom, and we just have not seen that in a very long time. It's always been one or the other. One line plays good, none of the other lines play good. Then next game, the third line plays good, and the top lines, we get nothing from them. But we're getting complete games, and might I add, we are getting vintage Vejmelka. We are getting exactly what we saw last year, why everybody in Utah fell in love with him. Dustin, how many people, when we did the Family Cup series, how many people mentioned that insane game against Carolina when he has like 45 saves as that's the game of the year for him?
It was every single guest. And the ones that didn't, I believe they said, like, I mean, everybody wants to talk about the Vejmelka game against Carolina. I'll go a different route. Like, if it wasn't what they said, they at least mentioned it. Like, everybody across the board, like, Veggie against Carolina. I was at that game. The stadium, like, the arena was insane. Like, at one point, like, I'm going off the rails here, but like they had like, I believe Carolina had like 7 straight minutes of penalty and Utah killed off the whole thing, which they did against Seattle the other night. McBain picked up a penalty like 11 minutes into like a Jersey slash penalty or something like that. So they had to kill off a minute 49 of 5-on-3. Killed that off perfectly. It's like, and that I bring that up because it's just like those two things kind of go hand in hand, like just killing off penalties, which Utah's been great at all year long, and Veggie just finally rounding into form. It's like he's always been able to make like those amazing saves where like you're watching at home and you're like, oh, before it's there, you're like, oh, that's a goal, and then Veggie's just, no, the hell it's not. But earlier in the season, I talked about like how he'll make the most amazing saves and then like just let one kind of glance off his shoulder and it goes in, like just like the most frustrating, like how did you not get that type saves, like that type goals that he would give up? He's not giving those up at all. And when Veggie is shutting stuff down the way he normally does, and he's not allowing those like light, easy goals, I don't know what you call it, just like light goals, he's phenomenal. And I mean, that's why I believe yesterday or today he was named like 3rd star of the week in the NHL as a whole. Like he's playing damn good hockey right now.
And we need him to. Through the month of December, he's at a .922 save percentage, 2 goals against, the best statistical line he's had all season, which we've commented a lot about how statistically the goalies aren't going to do well, but he leads the league in the win column. And even Vanacek had played a great game. He lost it, but statistically played a great game against Columbus. And so you can't fault him. And I'm at this point where I'm not too worried if they roll him out against Philly, which I think would be a good option to get him a game. Philly's not an exceptionally dangerous team. They're not a terrible team, but compared to the teams we just faced, I think that this is a great time to play him. Historically, Utah is very good when they have lots of rest. So coming off of their 4 days of rest, I would expect them to give their full effort in front of Vanacek, which we have not seen maybe but once or twice this season with him in net. But whoever it is, you got to feel good about your chances, especially if it's Veggie.
Vanacek's been playing really well lately too. Like early on, like I keep going back to early in the season, but it just seemed like it was every time he started a game, we're looking at like they have 9 shots on goal and they have three goals. Like it was like three goals on 9 shots, 4 goals on 12 shots, 3 goals on 12 shots. Like just like they're scoring so much so quickly. And Vanacek has been playing really well lately. His problem is that he hasn't been getting offensive support from the team in front of him. And the team is doing that right now. Like it's, I would imagine we're probably going to see Veggie just because everybody is rested. So is Veggie. Like we're probably going to see him. But like I'm at a point now where I don't And I'm not looking at the idea of Vanacek starting and thinking, well, there's a loss. Like it was that way for a while, but he's also turned a corner, which is great to see. Like everybody is finding their stride right at the right time.
And if he gets the loss, we can at least say it wasn't on Vanacek, unless he, of course, lets in, like he did early in the season, his 3 goals on 6 shots. But he's just been playing really well, hasn't gotten much run support. But you mentioned in the pregame war room, what is it? Utah's 3rd now in goal differential in the West. They're not going to catch Colorado, but it is insane.
Nobody's catching Colorado.
Absolutely insane how well they are playing offensively.
We are 3rd in the West behind Colorado and Dallas. We're now 1 in front of Minnesota, who lost today. All things coming up Mammoth right now, and then in the East behind Carolina and Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay is lagging behind Colorado, but they're also like they're lagging behind. Like it's Colorado is at plus 78, Tampa Bay is at plus 49, and the next closest is plus 28. Like those 2 teams are just one of the East, one of the West, just running away with it in terms of goal differential.
Absolutely crazy. And goal differential, that's one of those things. If you look at like moneypuck.com, they're the kind of the go-to source because they visualize like playoff chances. If you've ever seen anything on the internet, you see that wheel that has the pie chart looking thing, and Utah's up at like 65%. And one of the reasons is goal differential is a huge factor in their metrics. It's giving us that edge where the wild card race is still tight, too tight, I think, for my liking, but we are 3 points clear of Seattle and Los Angeles. We are in that wild card 1 spot ahead of Anaheim. Anaheim obviously is 3rd in the Pacific, but we are 3 points ahead of Anaheim as well. And so really it all comes down to Seattle, LA, Nashville to see who's going to sneak in there. And then San Jose and Anaheim can kind of fight for that 3rd Pacific spot. So we're not out of the woods yet. That's not a comfortable lead. But when those teams are struggling, this is when Utah needs to take advantage of the way they're playing. Because if you go on a 2-3 game losing streak, there goes your wild card spot. It can flip just that quickly with how tight things are. And so you've got to continue to force the momentum. You got to continue to beat your Western Conference teams. You got a little road trip back east coming up later on this week and into the weekend, but you've got to beat the Western Conference teams, which I do believe Nashville is on the schedule coming up. We head to Nashville and then to Florida, but Nashville, it's one just like against Seattle. You can't lose against the teams you're facing, right? You can't lose ground in the wild card spot to other wild card teams. If you lose one or the other to the Florida teams, not as big of a deal as if you lose to Nashville, and then that's a 4-point swing essentially. So, I mean, still a ton to play for heading into the Olympic break, and that's when we get Cooley back. And we said it before, if we're in the playoffs when Cooley comes back, we think we're going to make the playoffs. If we're out of the playoffs when Cooley comes back, I still don't think we get there. So it's a month of games to come, and all of them is going to be huge.
It's going to get a little like hold on to your butts situation coming up here, because like looking ahead, we've got Philadelphia obviously as this releases today, which is, I believe, a winnable game, especially at home with plenty of rest. And then a very important game against Nashville. Not only just because it's Nashville, and that's a team that you're fighting for a wild card spot right now in the West. Like, you have to win that game. But after Nashville comes Tampa Bay, Florida, Carolina, Dallas. That is a very, very tough stretch. That's 4 very, very tough games. Like, the way that Utah is playing right now, I'm not going to say they're going to lose to anybody, because they can beat anybody in the league the way they're playing right now. But that right there is a very tough slate of games. 3 of the 4 on the road, like that's going to be tough. So like you have to be winning heading into those games. And if you lose to Nashville, like those 4 games could just like exactly what we're talking about right now, how we're in the wild card 1 spot with a 3-point lead. Like it could be right at the end of that where it's like, okay, now we're 2 spots out of the wild card and we're 4 points back. Like you got to carry that momentum into that stretch of games.
Yep. And we talked about how difficult the scheduling was and the travel demands and everything for this team early in the season, it's not exactly an easy travel schedule, right? They play Nashville, luckily Saturday afternoon. Then they'll travel to Florida Sunday. They'll have that break. But then they play the back-to-back against Tampa Bay and Florida. I don't know if anybody remembers the last time we went and did a back-to-back against Tampa Bay and Florida, and it was not pretty. Tampa Bay lit us up. It was like 8-0. It was not a fun back-to-back against those Florida teams. Now, obviously, the Florida Panthers are a little bit different than they were last year, but Tampa Bay is just as good, right? Like Tampa Bay is leading the East, and then Carolina, a team that is just consistently fighting for that top of the East spot. And that's just one day after the Florida Panthers game. And then you got to travel from Carolina back home to play the Dallas Stars. You already got them once at home. We'll see if we can get them again. But yeah, not only is it a very difficult stretch of games against the teams, it's another one of those that is very demanding travel schedule, and they have historically struggled with that. But we'll see. We'll see what happens with that. But I don't want to make a prediction. Actually, you know what? I will because it worked last time. Hey, Dustin, is 1-4 the best we can do in that stretch of 5 games? Is 1-4 the best we can hope for? Just beating Nashville, then losing? Is that the best we can do?
No, I think we could win, like, we can win 2, and then, like, if we go to overtime against Carolina, get an overtime loss, like, I'll call that successful. Like, that, I'd be okay with that, because then we come home and, like, we have, like, I don't want to say an easy home slate, because Detroit and Colorado were in there, but, like, you've got Dallas, Vancouver, Detroit, Colorado, Minnesota, which is a big one, because we, like, if we close that gap, maybe we're not even fighting for a wild card spot. Maybe we're just in the top 3. And then Chicago, and, like, then we go on another road trip, and that's easy teams. Like, it just, we could rebound from it, but, like, maybe, like, 2 wins and an overtime loss. Like, that's what we should hope for this next 5.
There we go. We got fans. We just did it. We gave you we'll call it the Eat Crow special. We'll make a underperforming prediction, and then the team will exceed our expectations. So you're welcome for that little kiss. But I'm not going to let us get away entirely with all positivity though, because there's one teensy tiny little bit of a problem on this team still. And that, my friends, is the power play. It's still so
in my mind. I'm like,
awful.
What is going on?
My God, it's
what
still
can
awful.
we be complaining about at this point of the season? Like, with what we've done now, like 6 out of 7, a point in 7 straight games. What is going? Power play. It's power play. That's what it is.
It's the power play. I bring this up because I wanted to toss out a hypothetical. I tweeted out there, who do you think would win, Dustin, if you played them head to head? The 7-game win streak Mammoth or the January Mammoth? You've got the Logan Cooley 7-game win streak Mammoth against the Cooley less, but the top line and third line of Destiny January Mammoth. Who you taking?
You know what? Because that first win streak involved Colorado, Minnesota, Winnipeg, and Jose. That included some really good teams. So I'm going to say that team was more proven.
Mm-hmm.
I think that team was better.
Well, you know how I love to compare between where the team is at now and where they were historically. Eerily similar in these. So in the month of January, the Mammoth are 7-1-1. They have 34 goals for, 19 goals against. During that 7-game win streak, they had 32 goals for, 17 goals against. The big difference with special teams. Current January, 13% on the power play, but 80% on the penalty kill. In the 7-game win streak, we were 26.9% on the power play. 26.9. Can you believe that?
We were 26.9 at one point in this season. It feels like the power play has been broken all year long. I can't believe it. Like more than 1 out of 4.
Well, here's the one thing that maybe is why. Maybe we just can't have 2 even competent special teams units, because over that 7-game stretch, our penalty kill unit, 66%. So we joked about the movable object and the stoppable force in the Mammoth power play. I think it was the Seattle penalty kill that was the worst.
Yeah, when you go against the worst penalty kill in the league.
Yep. So you've got that reverse. So you've got that 13% power play against that 66% penalty kill, but then you've got a good penalty power play against a good penalty kill. So I don't know, man. Like, I don't know who's playing better, and I wonder if you just because Logan Cooley is that much of a game changer, if you give that edge to that team. But man, it just feels also like it was a different team at that time. I believe the kid line was still playing in that 7 game
Kidline was
stretch. So
phenomenal for a minute.
yeah, it's just a different team. But that's kind of, I mean, we on Turney a lot, but to his credit, like, he is making do with what he has. And now that he's allowing that consistency and chemistry to finally build, I think we're starting to see maybe what GM Bill Armstrong sees in Andre Turney as a coach. And the big test for him is, how does he close out this season? Because if he makes the playoffs and does respectable there, I think I'm comfortable going into next season with him. If he misses the playoffs, then we're right back where we are. It's like, is he enough? Is he the guy? And so I really hope for him that he proves us wrong and leads this team to a respectable playoff showing. I don't have any hopes for the playoffs, but respectable nonetheless.
Yeah. There is still like a small like twinge of fear in the back of my head, just knowing how quick he is on the trigger to like shake the lines up again. Cause like there's been times where like he puts a line combination out there and it's working for a game or two, and we're saying, oh, okay, like this is working. And then we go one game and it doesn't, and he shakes it back up again. Like, I am worried that if like maybe they come out against Philadelphia and things are a little like lackluster, like maybe they spent too much time just enjoying the break instead of staying on the grind. Like, you see that happen all the time in the playoffs. Like, if one team sweeps and then their opponent in the future goes 7 games and they had that long break, like, it can be detrimental. So like maybe like there is a small part of me that's like, yeah, if they come out cold in that game against Philadelphia and he shakes it back up, then we're right back to where we were, saying, oh, he's just going to throw stuff against the wall. But I will give the man his props. Like, he's made some changes that I did not believe in, and I am right next to you, just scooping out family style from the same crow to eat mine. But it's working. Just stick with it. And I will say, like, if we make it to the playoffs, and especially if we have a respectable showing, like that, we said before the season, like, that's the next step. Like, we're not Stanley Cup like contenders right now. The next step is make the playoffs. And as long as he can keep the team on the right trajectory, like just following the roadmap, like, we're here, now we got to be here, now we got to be here. And as long as Turney is keeping them on that path, I am fine with that man like behind the bench. So just stick with it. Let's get through this stretch until the Olympics, get Cooley back. Like, I mean, I don't like, even looking at the team, like the trade deadline kind of like not looming yet, but teams are starting to teams are starting to make movements. Like I could see us, like, obviously, like every other team in the league, like needing like a top 6 center. But like, other than that, I don't see many deficiencies on this team. Like, I'd love to get more from our fourth line, but like I'm not gonna expect them to go out and be scoring every game. Like, just go out there and play rough hockey and hit some people. That's fine by me. But like I like where we are, and especially getting Cooley back. If they can keep this momentum going, and then you add Cooley, like we talked about that at the trade deadline last year. Like, oh, is getting Sergachev and Dursey back? I think it was Sergachev and Dursey that we're missing right around the deadline. We're like, they're going to treat this as that's going to be their trade deadline acquisition. Getting those guys back, like Cooley, just like he's the acquisition. You bring him back and just keep riding the wave. Man, just you hit in there, yeah, whoopah, just keep riding the waves, man, and just keep it on this pathway. And I'm happy and content with Turney right now.
Absolutely. You bring up the trade deadline. So we saw Las Vegas kind of make the first big move. They pick up Rasmus Anderson, a big defenseman from Calgary. And then we saw San Jose. When was the last time San Jose was a buyer? San Jose gets Kiefer Sherwood from Vancouver. And so they look like they're buyers, right? They're saying, this is not a flash in the pan season. This is where we want to be right now. And we want to make the playoffs to show Macklin Celebrini, this is where your home is going to be for the next decade in this playoff spot. And so they're making moves. And so now everybody's looking at, okay, what other dominoes are going to fall? There was an open letter from the GM of the New York Rangers basically saying, hey guys, it's a fire sale. Who wants who? Where do you want to go? And what do you want to get? And so we're looking around, and it's that question. Is Utah's in a unique spot where right now, points wise, like the 3 seed is attainable, but let's say you get it and then you just play Dallas, right? The second best team in the league. Otherwise, you're looking at playing Las Vegas, who arguably the third, fourth, fifth best team, or of course, Colorado, the best team in the league. And so you're wondering, you're like, oh, San Jose's making little bits of moves to show that they're serious about getting into the playoffs. Utah has the roster to get there, but then you're like, are they buyers? Like, who are they going to move on? And so I wanted to throw out a couple of names for the listeners. This is, if you're on Twitter and stuff, you've heard these names before. The first one, of course, is from New York because we think New York is going to move, but is Utah in a position to give anything for him? Would be Vincent Trocheck. He's their first line center. He's 32 years of age. He makes $5.6 million a year. He's got 3 years left on his contract after this year if you pick him up. And he's basically a bigger version of Nick Schmaltz, who plays a grittier, more in front of the net center position than obviously Barrett Hayton, obviously Nick Schmaltz, and he plays in front of the net where Logan Cooley isn't quite big enough to do. So he would give you that big net front presence that you're kind of missing right now on any of the first 3 lines. Maybe Jack McBain can give you that, but Trocheck would play on the top 2 lines. The next name for big centers who are movable, this one gets a lot of negative reactions, but it's Elias Peterson from Vancouver, who's 27 years of age, $11.6 million on that contract, but you get him for 6 more years after this. And he, at least as of 2 years ago, was a 100-point guy, right? And that's what you're looking at when you're saying, God, who can help this team the most and who fits into the plan? And I'm wondering, is it a 3-year guy in Vincent Trocheck where you say in 3 years, our rookies are going to be ready to take over? Or do you go for a guy who's like Elias Peterson, who's going to fit in with the same timetable as like a Clayton Keller and Nick Schmaltz, but you probably can't keep both Peterson and Schmaltz? But I mean, Peterson makes you better. You may think he's a locker room cancer if you listen to the fans out there, but he makes you better. You want Hayton off the team so bad. Like, I don't want to replace Barrett Hayton with Nazem Kadri from Calgary. I just don't. I'm sorry. I don't like Kadri. I don't believe in Kadri. I don't think he fits with what Utah wants to do. It's just like when we talked about adding Sam Bennett from Florida. And Sam Bennett is not going to be Sam Bennett in Utah. He's Sam Bennett because he plays for the Florida Panthers. And Nazem Kadri's game, I just don't think is going to work with Utah. Maybe I'd be wrong. He's a guy that you hear a lot about, but I don't know. Do you think, whether you got a name or not, like, do you think Utah buys at the deadline? Do they make any moves? Or do you think, like we said, they just say, now we got our guys back from injury and we're good?
I think they want to. I think they're going to like shop. They're at least going to go window shopping and see what's available and what they'd have to give up. There's obviously a long list of like guys coming up the pipeline that fans don't want to trade because like, oh, like that hurts our future. But like our core is so young that like our core is so young and they're going to be here for a while, presumably. Like there's not going to be much room for like the guys that we have coming up to move into anything higher than like 3rd or 4th line contributors. So like you can move some of them. Like that's part of the game. Like that's part of the game of like having minor leagues and like different level prospects coming up through like all these different leagues, is bundling them to get better at your top level. Because like it doesn't help Utah at all to have a bunch of all-star level players at the AHL level. Like, right, like it doesn't help us if the Roadrunners are down in Tucson winning, was it Kelly Cups in the AHL? I forget.
I think maybe that's ECHL. Calder Cup? I think, is it the Calder Cup?
Calder Cup, yeah. All I remember, like I used to have a Utah Grizzlies shirt that said clawing towards the Kelly or something like that. That was ages ago, back when the Utah Grizzlies were
Mm-hmm.
actually a good team. Good riddance. Enjoy them jersey. Actually, I'll miss the hell out of it. Don't go. But yeah, back to my original point after my ADHD detour. It is okay to bundle some of your prospects to better your NHL level team. Like, you're not going to have all of these guys come up and contribute to the team. And like, if you can bundle them and like maybe a guy who's on your team now, one or two guys, especially like if it's a third or fourth line guy, and improve your top six, like, you can do that. So I think Utah's going to look at that. I think they have the ability to kind of be judicious about it and a little stingy, not desperate, not like, oh, we need to make a move. Like, we're on the fringe. We have to make the playoffs. So we're gonna hold a fire sale to bring in one guy and just like the last hurrah. Like, this is our last hope. We have to make that move, because like, I think the roster as it's currently constituted is good enough to make the playoffs. So I don't think they have to make a move, but I think they'll at least be shopping around to see what's available.
Right. And it's funny because you look at the standings and you look at, like, there was an article written about how the first team to really start selling is going to get the biggest haul. So we haven't seen it quite. Like, Vancouver they got a first round pick and a couple of guys coming back for Anderson. But Sherwood was, it wasn't a very big turn, but Sherwood's not exactly a, like, oh my God, top of the line name, but he's a very good player. He makes San Jose better. And so I'm looking at teams, and it's like, outside of like the Rangers, Vancouver, maybe Calgary, and I think Calgary fans would say absolutely Calgary, but a few others, like, I don't know who thinks like we got to sell, because at this point, like, you look at the East and they all probably think, hey, we can be buyers because we got a shot. We got a shot to make the playoffs. It's so close out there, like we thought, oh, Buffalo's good. We could get Tage Thompson for a steal. We'll rob them blind. And they're in a playoff spot. They got more points than us. Like, there's no incentive for them to trade away their best player anymore. So now you're looking at the Buffalo Sabres potentially being buyers, but you're probably going to get the standard. It's like, these teams like your Buffaloes and your Utahs are going to do a cost benefit analysis, and they're going to say, even if we buy, does it make us good enough now? Probably not. Does it make us good enough for the long term? If so, yes, we're making the move. But in terms of your short-term rentals, probably not going to see that out of Utah, because like you said, we're good enough as is to make the playoffs. And even if we buy a lot, I don't know if that makes us good enough to compete with your Colorados, your Dallases, and your Vegases, because they're going to be out there doing what they can. With whatever cap space they have, they're going to get creative, going to try to bring in whoever they can to make the team better, even if it's short-term rentals. Those are the teams that are going to be short-term rental guys. Your Carolinas in the East, your Tampa Bays, the Panthers probably maybe make the playoffs, but I don't want to put them in it. But somehow the Panthers always get somebody. They last year was Marchand, like, they're going to get somebody. So it's just a matter of who, and I just don't know if there's anybody right now that makes this Utah team that much better long-term, until you decide the big elephant in the room is, what are you going to do with Nick Schmaltz? You going to give him $7, $8, $9 million, or are you going to trade him away? Like, those are the big questions that GM Bill Armstrong has to answer to decide how he's going to approach this last month until the Olympic break, and then only 2 weeks after the Olympic break until the trade deadline's here.
I think that Nick Schmaltz has earned the ability to be here if he wants to be, right? Like he kind of came out of the gates gangbusters. Like, oh, who is this Nick Schmaltz dude? Like, leading the league in goals. And then he kind of like cooled off, like we frankly all expected, because he just wasn't going to keep that production up all year long. And then we were talking about, like, okay, is he the tradable asset? Like, is he the guy that we can give to like a contending, like you mentioned, Carolina, like a short-term rental who just wants to get better this year? Like, could he be moved? And I think he's just proven himself too valuable to this team and his line mates. Like, think you keep him here as long as he wants to be here. Like I think there was some like consternation with his brother on Twitter over some drama, and like it kind of felt like Schmaltz didn't want to be here, but he seems to be happy. He's playing phenomenal hockey right now. That's one thing that I hope they don't do at the deadline, like trying to improve this team, like kind of like a desperate Hail Mary. I hope they don't trade any of like the key top 6, top 10, if you want to talk about defensive pairings. Like, don't trade any of those away in like a desperate attempt to like, oh, maybe if we trade like our top center, we can bring in a better top center. Just if you can build a package with some of the prospects you have coming up, do that, but like don't trade away any of the dudes like Schmaltz or like you might feel like, okay, we can do without this one if it brings us in somebody else. Like, because that just kind of feels like it feels like an evening out equation. Like it's just balancing on both sides of the equation.
Yep. And Nick Schmaltz is on pace for a career high in points this year. And he just spoke to Cole Bagley from KSL Sports and said that he wants to be part of this Utah future. He likes what they have started to build here. He likes Utah and he wants to be a part of that future. So I just hope that he can come to an agreement, his agent and GM Bill Armstrong. And I gotta say, like, obviously I've been a Schmaltz fanboy, right? We have the Nick Schmaltz of the Week award. But I got to tell you, it has been so satisfying to see this turnaround from the fans who went from absolutely hating him, get off my team, get off my team, get off my team, to embracing him for what he is.
Look at this guy.
And to me, like, yes, he's going to get a career high in points this year. But to me, he's still the same player he was last year. He's still doing the exact same things he did last year. He's shooting the puck a little bit more and they're going in the back a little bit more. That's the difference.
He is not this year sponsored by any fan companies. He's not fanning on this year.
True. I have not seen, I told you, once he tore up the Harbor Breeze contract, new Nick Schmaltz, baby. That's the thing though. He's got a business mind, right? If he sees an angle, he's going to take it. And Harbor Breeze probably sold a lot of fans because of Nick Schmaltz. So good riddance to him. I don't even know what other fan company could be. That's the only company I know.
That's the only one I know of.
I can't even say another, like, I hope take your business to this other fan company, because I don't know them, but you know what we mean. But hey, speaking of Nick Schmaltz of the Schmaltz of the Week award, do we have a winner this week for last week's performance?
No, like earlier, like I was thinking maybe it was just the high of the Seattle game. I was like, it's Schmidt, right? And then Veggie gets named third star, and like it really I was like you see the stats, and you're like, he's been phenomenal. So like, do we go Veggie because he's been outstanding?
Mm-hmm.
Do we give it to Schmidt because we haven't given it to a defensive player yet this season? Do we do like our first Nick Schmaltz of the Week award winners and say like now we've got two, like it's too hard to choose? Or do we say, okay, Veggie won third star of the week from the NHL, so we'll give it to Schmidt so they both feel some of the love? Like, there's a few different options, and I've been for like the last 2 days like racking my brain, like what do we do with the Nick Schmaltz of the Week award? And I have not been able to decide.
Did we give it to Sean Durzi 1 week? Did a defenseman already win it? I know we haven't given it to Sergachev, but did Sean Durzi win it 1 year or 1 week?
I don't remember giving it to Sergachev.
I know we didn't give it to Sergachev, but I can't remember if we saw Durzi, if we gave it to Durzi or not.
Let's see. Let me check my past. We've got Nick Schmaltz. We gave it to, just open it. We gave it to JJ Peterka.
Mm-hmm.
Then we gave it to Logan Cooley.
Mm-hmm.
And then we gave it to the fans.
Yep.
And then we gave it to Nick Schmaltz. Maybe we gave it to Durzi the week that I didn't make a graphic for it.
Make a graphic for it. Okay.
Maybe.
Well, so we haven't given it to a goalie yet.
Not to insult the man, but I don't remember a time in which Durzi has been good enough to be named Nick Schmaltz of the Week.
I think he had the little
Durzi
bit of
hasn't
stretch.
been great.
He had a little stretch. there to end December. I get here. Okay, here's where I'm leaning towards it, and this is probably an unfair tiebreaker. This is an unfair tiebreaker because it's going to sound negative, but I think Vemelka has a chance to win the Nick Schmaltz of the Week award at some time in the future. Schmidt's 2-goal, 3 assists, +9 week last week. Like, are we going to see that again from Nate Schmidt? Yeah. Will Nate Schmidt have another opportunity?
We haven't seen a performance like that from Schmidt in at least 5 years. Like I read a tweet after his third point that it was his first 3-point game in 5 years, and I've got to assume that wasn't a 4-point game. So it's probably been even longer. I mean, I guarantee it's been even longer since his last 4-point game. Like, we've seen Veggie do this before. So he's not doing something we haven't seen before, and we're not going to see again in the future, like you said. But what we saw this week, and especially that game from Schmidt, is something that the league hasn't seen in half a decade, which makes me lean more towards Schmidt.
And if we give it to Schmidt, we can also, by proxy, John Marino can be like Nick Schmaltz of the Week adjacent. So I'm going to vote.
Maybe I could put, like,
Nate
in the background of the graphic, like, John Marino, but, like, take the transparency down to, like, 15%. So it's just like a ghostly, like, Casper the Friendly Ghost buddy in the background. Just like, he's there. He's his line partner. He's there. He's not winning the award, but you see him. Just like when Schmidt is out there, like, he's scoring 2 goals, he's racking up 2 apples. Marino is there. He's in the background of all the shots. So maybe that's what we do. Nate Schmidt wins the Nick Schmaltz of the week, and we put Marino as just a nod to the defensive pairing in the background, so you see him, but he's not called out.
Veggie didn't even get a shutout. So can you really win the Nick Schmaltz of the Week award without a shutout? Probably. Veggie, you're going to get yours. Don't worry, Veggie. We're going to get you on that award. So there it is, though. Nate Schmidt, last week, two goals, 3 assists, +9 just last week. He's got 6 points through the month of January, and I do believe he leads the team in plus-minus. So just incredible work by Nate Schmidt and John Marino. We can't stress enough how important they are to the team's success this year. So we'll see if they can keep that up. Coming up with the Philadelphia Flyers tonight, and then they're going back on the road. Dustin, I have enjoyed talking to you tonight. Do you have anything else on your mind that you want to discuss with the listeners out there?
I will mention this just because we've been talking about Veggie and Vanacek. Connor Ingram in Edmonton quietly having the best season he's ever had. He is at a 1.7 save percentage, a 2.2 goals against average. Both of those are career bests. He's got 5 wins in 9 starts, just playing really, really good hockey for Edmonton right now, which I love to see. And he's playing so well that Edmonton is going to carry 3 goalies. They're getting Picard back, and they're going to keep Ingram on the roster and not send him down. They're going to carry 3 goalies at least through the Olympic break, which really shows you how well he's been playing in net for Edmonton.
It would be incredible because we kind of talked about it, right? Like when they picked him up, that trade, Utah makes it happen, retaining some of his salary. We wanted to be closer to home. So this was a win-win, you could argue, for the team, but it was really like a win for Connor Ingram, right? Connor Ingram got to be in a place where he could succeed both on the ice and off the ice. He goes back, rehabs in the hit or miss in the AHL, but comes out and he's been playing lights out. Now, if Connor Ingram is the goalie that takes them, let's say Edmonton stuns the West, right? They beat Colorado, they beat Vegas, whoever they got to get through to get to the Stanley Cup final again. They go for a third time, and it's Connor Ingram in between the pipes. That would be a fun story for Utah to follow along with, and I think anybody who wasn't already cheering for Edmonton would likely cheer for Edmonton then. I wouldn't, because I don't want a Canadian team to win the Stanley Cup ever again in the history of the Stanley Cup. So I wouldn't, but you know what? I would say Connor Ingram, I hope it's not you that loses him, because Stuart Skinner, man, the fans will get you if you Stuart Skinner it up. So you got a lot of pressure on you, and hopefully he's up to
I
the
will
task.
say, if Utah, we don't even have to worry about Utah getting knocked out because they're not going to play each other until the Cup. I would love if Edmonton gets there. Imagine they just go like Connor Ingram and Tristan Jarry are both playing so well that they're just going alternate starts in the Cup finals, right? And they lose 4-3, and Connor Ingram pitches 3 shutouts. So he wins 3 games with 3 shutouts. Then they lose the other 4. So Tristan Jarry's the scapegoat. A team from Canada doesn't win the Cup, but everybody's like, that Connor Ingram, wowie zowie. So that's a good outcome.
That is a fun pipe dream. We'll go with that. How about this? If we're talking pipe dreams, what about this?
Could you imagine through 6 games, Connor Ingram
Why
has
would they
3
switch
shutouts,
back to Jarry?
and they start Jarry in Game 7?
But that's what they do in Edmonton. That's what they do. They can't stick to it.
Hey, I didn't say my dreams were logical or possible.
What if he twists his, right? If he twists his ankle or something and he's like, I can't twist my ankle, but I'm okay now.
He comes skating off after a Game 6 shutout, like jumps up, comes down, twists his ankle a little bit. He can't start Game 7.
See?
No. They can't be in a celebration because then he becomes a laughing stock and we're like, ha ha ha, you hurt yourself, like freaking Grammatica yourself out of the playoffs. No,
maybe it's against Florida for the 3-peat and they give him an elbow. Yeah.
Whoever they're playing pulls their goalie. He gets skated into with like 30 seconds left on the clock. Hurts his ankle. Can't play Game 7. There you go.
That's the scenario. Here's another scenario. What if the Mammoth continue their path and they secure that one wild card spot? And we play Vegas. We beat Vegas in the first round, and then we play Edmonton in the second round, and it's the old Utah versus Ingram matchup in the second round. How about that for a fun little adventure?
I like it.
We could go with that one. I don't know if it's possible. It's about as possible as Ingram twisting his ankle in Game 6 after 3 straight shutouts. Can't go for Game 7. So pick your pipe dream, fans. Pick your pipe dream to decide which one you want to go with. But Dustin, I have enjoyed talking with you tonight. That's all I've got out there other than let's go Mammoths. Let's close out the home streak strong. Let's go beat the Flyers. 5-2 was my hope. We have a chance to go 6-0-1. I want to see it. I want to see it bad.
Yes, I want to see Utah versus Connor Ingram in the Western Finals. I want to see.
There you go. Book it, guys. Hey, thanks so much, Dustin, for joining me today, and everybody out there. Thanks so much for listening. Remember, catch the YouTube for the shirt of the week. First and last time you're going to catch that segment. So everybody out there,
I love that segment. Many memories.
It's one of those happy trails to it. We may not see the like of it again in this podcast, but happy trails, everybody. Have a great night.